Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls, a school for entrepreneurs. My name is I'm the CEO of Classroom Without Walls and the host of this weekly live streaming show. You can also listen to us on the traditional audio-only podcast. Just search Classroom Without Walls. On this show, I interview leading social media, digital marketers, entrepreneurs, business leaders to come here to share with us their best practices so that we can future-proof our businesses. And today I have my dear friend, Troy Sandidge on the show to talk about, I think this topic is something that everyone is interested in learning more about, which is how to not only double, but 4 times quadruple our marketing ROI in the new year. And this is something that I'm personally excited about, want to learn more about. So you are going to walk away from today's interview with a much better understanding of the common marketing mistakes you should avoid, bad practices you should say goodbye to, and good practices that you should start doing. And also, we're going to learn two really powerful methods from Troy. And I listened to his podcast. I was like, wow, that is good. That is good. So can't wait to unpack his brain and share those two powerful methods with everyone so that you can not only double, but 4 times your marketing ROI in the new year. For those of you who don't know who is Troy, he's a dear friend and an elite marketing strategist. He's a speaker, a podcaster, a founder, and an entrepreneur. And we connected in person. Oh my God, what is that, right? So a few years ago, when we spoke at the same event, I was really impressed by Troy's depth of knowledge and how dynamic he is as a public speaker. And so many of you know this. My friend Julia McCoy and I, we wrote our book. It's here. Skip the degree, save the tuition. So Troy is a featured expert along with Seth Godin, Patel in the book. So really interesting to also ask him a few questions related to education and how he gets to where he is today. So as always, a big shout out to StreamYard for sponsoring Classroom Without Walls. Over the last several years, I have tried so many different third-party tools to go live on social media. StreamYard is my favorite. In the comment section, you will see a link that allows you to check out StreamYard for 2 weeks for free. So check it out and send me a message if you have any question. We're live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Periscope, on YouTube, on Twitter. So let me know in the comment section where you guys are joining us live from, social media-wise and geographically speaking. Without any further ado, I know that is a long introduction, my friend. So welcome to the show.
Oh my God, it's a dream come true. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, likewise. The honor is, that's you. The honor is all mine. So really excited. So I want to help everyone get to know you more, Troy. You have such an interesting journey to get to where you are today. And I was actually reading your story in the book. And when you were a college student, your major is actually EE, electrical engineering. But now you are in marketing. So that is quite a shift. So what brought you to marketing?
I look at it, whether you call it fate or life. I feel that for me, it was just a transition. So I was in it about 3.5 years and I still got a minor in it. But along the way, I just like where I wanted to go with it just seemed like it was gonna be a long time. And someone's like, hey, you have this kind of gift, maybe you should nourish them more, but I want to be this, I want to be this. And one thing I'll just echo for a lot of people who are listening is that sometimes what your skill sets are that you think it fits in one mode can be just taken out and applied somewhere else where you can really thrive. And so the moment they put me in this pathway of like, hey, just try it, it was like everything was too easy. And it's like, that means that's your place you're supposed to go. And so I just went on and did it. And obviously the proof's in the pudding, no looking back. But ironically, the great story about it is my first job out of college, once I graduated digital media and communications degree with the minor in electrical engineering, was working for an electrical engineering company, which is mind blowing. So I still was able to use those practical skill sets in a marketing banner and lens to help a company grow.
Wow, that's incredible. What a perfect alignment. So do you still have any connection with double E industry or not anymore?
Yeah, so I still give advice to those who are coming up the ranks, and sometimes I just try to echo people, especially people of color, BIPOC, who, sometimes we don't see a lot of us in those type of roles, or there's not a lot of opportunities. So I do try to shed light and give some people some examples, connect some people, make some dots. And hey, there's someone who looks like you who has been in trailblazer along the way. Go connect with them. They'll give you some backstory, some information that you may need. And then also I'd say that I still use a lot of the practical technicalities and things that I learned from there in my day-to-day. If you are in marketing, you have to understand analytics. Trust me, if you have the eyes and the ears of an engineer and the mind of an engineer, you can be very successful when it comes to processing data to make sense of it, to give people empowerment to make decisions.
Totally. I feel like lots of skills can be transferred from one industry to another industry. So it's really interesting to hear that. And also I agree, as minorities, both of us, it is so important to put ourselves out there, right? So that, I'm sure your story has inspired so many people. So that's really interesting to know. And nowadays, fast forward to today, you have been in marketing for 10 plus years, even though I feel like you look so young. It's hard to think that you have been in this space for 10 plus years. So reflecting on your experience, what do you think are some common marketing mistakes that people are still making in this day and age? Or maybe if you don't mind sharing with us some of the mistakes that you used to make.
Oh man, if I could, I saw a tweet, I think today or yesterday, that said, what would you tell yourself if you just got started? And one thing I tell them, like, learn more. Don't think you know. And for those who are aspiring or are in the industry of marketing in today's world, what was relevant 10 years ago obviously isn't relevant now. 5 years ago, shoot, we already know what was relevant, what we plan to do in 2020 isn't relevant in 2020, nor is it relevant now. We're in 2021. So be always a student of the industry, and do your own research, because there's a lot of noise that people are going to say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Do your own research, because sometimes the best way to figure out what's right for you is that you know how to apply it to your skill set. There's always that asterisk that so-and-so ex-marketer expert said we should do this. Do your own research to make sure it makes sense to you, your business, your brand, your audience, and you can perform and do it justice. So that way you don't, venture off and do a lot of time in things that don't make sense to you or your brand.
Yeah, totally. And I can also relate. I have definitely made lots of those mistakes myself. And yes, definitely. I think one of the mistakes was definitely chasing after shiny objects. But anyway, so like today our focus is talking about how we can really 10 times our marketing effort in the new year, which I think is a great topic, right? And I have met and worked with enough people who are just like constantly putting out content out there, doing this and that, but they're still not seeing any ROI, and they're feeling so exhausted, especially with what you are doing, Troy. You are at this high level strategy, which I think many businesses, to be honest with you, are really missing this piece. So what do you think are some old practices, that people should absolutely stop doing in 2021? And based on your experience, what do you think are some newer practices that we should adopt in this new year if our goal is to really improve our marketing ROI?
One thing I'd debunk, or I'd just suggest as my experience in the game, is to not make follower count of any kind a goal. Follower count.
Amen to that.
Should be a benchmark towards a goal. It's kind of like if you're driving a car, you think of indicator lights. Follower count is an indicator light. Engagement is an indicator light. Yes, you want to increase your engagement. Yes, everyone who wouldn't want more followers. We all want more followers, but put that in intention of if I'm getting more followers and I'm getting more engagement at the same time and the percentages are going up, that tells me I'm developing a stronger community. Now, I get it. Marketers use the word community and value and authenticity and transparency all the time, but there is some merit behind these words when you know how to look at it through the right lens. So definitely focus on goals. So if I were to say, if you have a product, if you're a local business, look at your follower count, and we're going to skim into this and say, okay, how many of these people are in an actual area? And I would also premise to say a lot of people want big numbers. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000, 100,000, even 1 million followers, and you don't even get 1% of that community to buy your product or service. That means you have a very low community value rate. So you definitely want to focus more on people who not only find value in their content, but also would either, I like to say, they're a buyer, they're an advocate, or they're an elevator, where they will gradually give me my money now. Like maybe you see on Futurama, take my money. Or maybe they don't have they can't afford it, they don't need it right now. They're an advocate that they will refer you or make an introduction or make a proclamation of your brand or your business or your service. Or if they don't want to do that, at least they're an elevator. So those are the people who are like, you think your aunts, your uncles, like, hey, I know I'm going to get a like from them on Facebook, right? Or those small group of people that who will reshare stuff to just get the word out. So definitely look at it through the lens of community and less on followership.
Well, that's such a great point. I love this comment from Natalie. So great to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us live. Like follower count is not the goal, and it is only an indicator toward the goal. I love it. And this is something I'm talking about mistakes, right? Like a big mistake that I used to make. I was like, wow, I was just like looking at my followers. Why is now growing? It's now looking at my bank account, right? Why is my bank account not growing? But I'm only being so obsessed with the followers number. And even if like I don't have any piece of content that actually goes viral like crazy level, but I do have a few pieces of content that got like tons of views. But even that, like, so what? It doesn't like really help me grow my business that much. But like I noticed many, and actually, and some. Now, as I think about this, many of my posts that actually generated clients for me are not those viral posts. Are actually, I'm talking about something that just like resonated with my live audience or my regular audience. And so that is such a great point. And I think so many people are still making this mistake, right?
Yeah. I mean, to your point, and I use this example and it resonates with people, is that when you think of virality, you're thinking of like, hey, just put on a billboard. And I guarantee you that, hey, 100,000 people are going to drive past it. That doesn't mean that they're going to look at it. That doesn't mean that they're going to, once they look at it, they're going to see the phone number or go to the website or click on it, then make the action to even go through the email or go through the phone call to buy. That's a lot of steps involved. But hey, we're going viral. You see, with virality, that doesn't mean it's your target audience. That literally means that X amount of people saw it and it was in a trend. It was the right time. It was the right moment. The stars aligned, and it was your time to shine on social media. Don't mean that they're going to cash in. And again, I say this all the time: likes and followers don't equate to dollars and cents. If your goal is, I want the blue check and I want 1 million followers, that shouldn't be your goal, because you can't cash in. Because if we could, shoot, I try to do some different things differently if I could as well. We all would like that. So definitely focus on more. Again, like you said, to your point, it wasn't the viral posts. It was the ones that were very intimate, very direct, maybe had a strong call to action or displayed a certain part of it that, hey, I trust you. I trust what you represent. I feel compelled to do so. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But one thing I'll throw out there is, we're making that transition to think about is now we need to really focus on emotion. When we can lead with emotion, with our copy, with our language, with how we come across, with our branding colors, to make things more open and accessible and allow people to, by choice, I'm attracted to you. That resonated with me. That's going to sit with them. And they're going to subliminally think, I'm going to come back to this person's profile. I'm going to keep engaging. And now you have a system where, okay, I got them. Now I just got to nurture them. And it's like a relationship. You're just developing, you're courting, and eventually Oh my goodness, they're a customer. Oh my goodness, they bought my ebook. Oh my goodness, they bought my product. Oh my goodness, they made a referral. And it's all back to just being emotional. And I get it. A lot of brands, we kind of want to hide behind our name, but show your face, show your character, show your colors. Everybody wants to feel something. They want to feel like when I'm purchasing something, I'm inspired, I'm contributing something better. So, and I'll make this really quick. When you're thinking of people coming from 2020 and 2021 now, a lot of people still are saying like, I need to make X amount of money to take care of my kids, to do this, to do that. And when you tie that emotion to the action, people feel like, oh, I want to be a part of that journey. And so we're getting away from, we got to just broadcast. We're going to schedule out, 30 tweets a day. And sure, why is it not working? Well, are you reaching them where they are to the heart and, tying the emotion to get them to not only become buyers, but advocates and elevators too?
Oh my God, so many great points. And I love how Brian, what's his last name? I forgot. The person talking about H2H, right? It's like this
Kramer.
Kramer, yes, human to human connection, yes. Right? It's not B2B, it's not B2C, but human to human, talking about that trust level. I can't tell you, and everyone watching us live right now, how many of my clients actually, they have been lurking on my content for so long. When they finally have a conversation with me, they just know me so much, even though I have no idea who they are, but the content is building the trust.
So true, so true. It's all about being relatable. Even though, you think about it now, you have so many people in queue that you don't even realize. And that's the point of not being so focused on the likes or the followers. There are so many people that could be looking at your content, looking at your business, looking at what you're doing, and they're not the liker. They're not going to just follow compulsively, but they're watching you. And after so much, you see those things in left field like, oh, so-and-so, I have an interest here and I have 500 people in this group that I'm going to refer your business or your product to. And I really think a lot of them will be buying. And so it's really just recognizing that, just be consistent, speak your truth. Don't get caught up in the weeds. I get it. It's very easy to want to compare your marketing strategy, your business, your brand to everybody else. And the moment you see someone else, oh, they're going viral. Why not me? Why not me, Twitter? Why not me, Facebook? I want more likes. I want more this. Just stay true to you. And you're like the little train. You're just chugging along. And pretty soon you're going to find that speed. You're going to find that traction. It's going to just blossom. And you're going to get really great results by being consistent.
Oh, amen. I think, I don't remember, it was last year or a few years ago, there was this article, I think published either on Inc. or Forbes, saying that this big name influencer was trying to sell a t-shirt. Do you know that story?
Yes.
And she had like millions of followers, right? And how many, she was struggling to sell either 6 or 12, like very, very, very small amount of like,
and she had million plus, like, I think 1.2 million followers.
Yeah, something like that, definitely on the million level. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So you are the king of creating pathways, methodologies. I was just like, here is an acronym, there is an acronym. So that is so powerful. I love it. That's what I do. I have different models, which makes it so much easier to explain to other people, like a very, very systematic manner. So I want to discuss 2 today, which I think are really, really powerful. So why don't we start with the first one that I really love? It's called C.L.O.V.E.R, and C.L.O.V.E.R. So please explain to us what this means, and maybe even give us some examples and see how we can apply that to our businesses. Yeah.
It's ironic because when I came up with C.L.O.V.E.R, and let me mind you in saying I did not intend to be the acronym marketing guy. I don't know how that happened. But C.L.O.V.E.R is a framework that I help a lot of my clients and businesses in one-on-ones and group sessions to just, here's a package to help you figure out where you need to go. And it goes like this. The C.L.O.V.E.R stands for C, for clarity. You need to understand and see where you're going. You need to be very clear about what the goal is, clear about your identity, clear about just the scenario you're in, the actual thing you need to go across. L is for leverage. You need to leverage what you have.
You mind if I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I love this. Like, even that's the first letter, I already have lots of questions because I feel like this, I'm so happy that you have this as the first one, because, like, believe it or not, I find that many people really lack clarity on who they are, who they are serving. It's so fundamental, but everyone is kind of focusing on the specific, the more fun part, design my logo, blah, 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 without really gaining that clarity. So for those people who are actually struggling with gaining clarity on their business or on their target audience, or even their why, their mission. So like, what advice, or are there specific like exercises or like questions they can think through to really help them gain that clarity?
There's a lot of mind maps that people could, go online to kind of think through things. Some core things I would just tell people to do is, okay, what's the purpose? I do X for Y to get Z. I got that from my mindset coach, Angus Nelson. Shout out to you. But it's just simple. I do X for Y to get Z. And so you fill in the X. It may be multiple things, but keep it short. Then Y, who do you serve? And then what's the result? What's the end result for Z? And then the other thing I think about is, you want to tie into different things. So let me use myself, for example. I'm a marketer. I love social media. I do all these different things. But Troy, who are you? What do you do? And when it came down to it, I say I'm a growth marketing strategist. Why do I say that? It's because I'm focusing on the result is that I provide is growth. The vehicle I do that is marketing, and the clarity around this, I give you strategy. Now I can create the post. I've done that for years, but I'm getting a little older now. I want to help people with my brain. I can maximize that to help more people in bulk. So that took some time to just go to 3 simple words. I'm a growth marketing strategist. When I could say I'm a social media evangelist, I'm a streamer, I'm a podcaster. Those are all identities and vehicles. But what are you? What can you put at the top of at the level and then funnel underneath it? The other thing I want to talk about really quickly, again, around clarity, is the different things that you identify with. So I'm African American, obviously. I'm in the age group of 30 and under. I'm live in the Chicagoland area. I'm a marketer. I like to live stream. I love technology and all these different things. Those are our different specifics of who Troy is. So use that to your advantage. Make a list of everything that when someone sees you, who are you? What gender? What color? What do you like? Where do you live? Those are all points of your identity that you can now put together and tied into clarity around, these are my audiences, these are my offerings, this is what I do, this is who I serve. And these are the things that when people see me, they're going to know and recognize with, and then I can talk to them about that. So that's really where clarity comes from.
I love that. And I love this comment from Dan saying that, who are you? What do you do? Value proposition, something that people like to chalk up to consulting and speaking, but it's critical and most people can't articulate it. Yeah, it is so true. I work mainly with the students, and many of them really have a hard time even the young, like to 20 years or something, they really have a hard time articulating who they are. I mean, even for myself, I don't even know how many times I changed my LinkedIn, the headline,
right
underneath your name, exactly who I help, what is the result that I'm trying to help them get. It is very hard. It is very hard to, but it's so necessary.
And I would just add, to your point, there's going to be a lot of things that changes. When the pandemic hit, that changed a lot of things, and we had to modify and adapt into all those things. But I'd say make sure that you at least have anchors. Just anchors of certain things that to be true for you as a business, for you as a person. For me, let's say, clarity around, I have a goal of amount of money I need to make to take care of my family. But also around that, I want to have the flexibility to do this and do that while I'm making money. So when you have that clarity, when certain opportunities come up, you can look at it and say, that doesn't align with what I want. I'm going to decline that offer gracefully. So having that clarity around how you, not just to make money, but how you want to make money and how you want your life to go will matter.
Oh my God, it makes a huge difference and makes decision-making a lot easier. Yeah, I love that. I hope you don't mind that I love to go a little bit deeper on certain of the elements because each of them is just like so powerful. So we finish a C. And so what is the second letter?
The second letter is leverage. When I mean by leverage, you want to leverage your time. You want to leverage every resource available to you. And you'd be surprised when I say resources, I don't mean just technology. I don't mean just what you have in your mind and your talent and skill set. I mean, leverage your network, leverage who you're connected with, because they either offer you advice, they'll either give you referrals, they'll either critique and kind of help you figure out, hey, does this make sense? Should I modify notes? And if you have that core group of really good friends and community and people that you trust and the advisors, they'll really tell you what's real. So definitely leverage your community. Leverage, there's a lot of things that you can do for free if you're tight on a budget or you're bootstrapping your business or your vision or you're a side hustler. Leverage what you can. And the most important thing is leverage your time. If you don't know how to leverage your time to get what you want, you will be on the backtrack. You'll be on the, oh, I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda all day long. Learn how to leverage your time.
Oh, I need examples. I love that. So can you give us some examples? I love how you are talking about leveraging our time. So what do you mean by that? Can you give us some examples?
Sure. So let's say I'm on Twitter, right? And I literally tweeted out, I am in a content funk. I just can't create content right now. I don't know what else to do. I tweeted that, and lo and behold, I had people reach out to me saying, hey, do you need some help? Here's some inspiration. Some sent me some funny videos. Some sent me a nice little framework. Some just knew that how I think. I'm high octane. I'm always energetic. And, well, Troy, maybe you just need a break. So just recognizing my community can give me the very thing I need to just, Troy, it's okay. You don't have to tweet right now. Or we empathize with what's going on with you. Another thing I'd say, I may, I see an opportunity, but I don't have all the information. I may go to you. I may go to Julia. I may go to people in my Rolodex and my LinkedIn network, or my Twitter network, and say, hey, I have a question. I did some research. Does this make sense as a pitch? Does this make sense? Am I lowballing my price, or am I thinking about this too much? And knowing that I can trust people in confidence to ask them questions. And it just someone's other's opinion. Just give you that confidence, or say, hey, that doesn't seem right, just helps you out. So I would encourage everyone to really, I know if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to do different things, most of us, we kind of hide things. We kind of just want to do it on our own. Let me tell you something. You're always going to need someone to help you. So leverage your community, leverage your family. Sometimes it's just somebody, hey, honey, or hey, husband, or whoever your partner is, I won't be able to cook dinner tonight, or I need to focus on writing this book or working on a few pages or doing this. So even you're just leveraging other people to kind of take away some things off your plate so you can just focus, and then that ties back into clarity around what you're trying to do.
So powerful. I can so relate. When I started on this journey myself, I felt like, maybe even now, I felt like I don't want to bother others, right? Like it's my problem. And also you don't want to be like judged by other people, right? So I just listen to you shows us how important it is to actually like reach out to people and actually just ask for help. Yeah, you're such a great working example of that.
The next word is optimization. What I mean by optimization, this is very key, is that you may have a thing in motion. You may be very clear. You may be leveraging people, but you have to be aware that what you're building, what you're doing, is always a work in progress. And there's always something that's going to go wrong. Not that you're being negative, but there's always going to be something that's not going to go 100% your way. It's not going to be perfect. And so you're always going to be optimizing, making changes and updates to what you're doing. And then remember when I said, and the order is important. When you have clarity, though, I still know where I'm going. I always like to say this, and I saw this quote somewhere, and it goes a little something like this, is that don't focus on the distance. Just keep your eyes on the destination. When you think about, you got the GPS and you're like, okay, how do I go in this traffic, right? And you got to go, how do I get there? It's going to reroute you. It's going to take you side roads and everything else. But you're not worried because I'm just trying to get to that destination. So when you're optimizing, you're going to have to make some modifications. You might have to take a step back. You might have to take a leap of faith. You might have to ask for help in different scenarios. But whatever you do, you're always going to be making changes. But embrace the fact that you will be making changes. And keep in mind that it's always about making progress. It's always about making momentum. If you keep that at the forefront, you'll make success. You'll get there. And again, it's just like the GPS. Like, hey, I'm just trusting the GPS. I know my destination. It might take me another hour. It might take me another year to get that degree. It might take me another year or 2 years to get where I want to go with my business, or leave my side hustle, my 9-to-5, to go full entrepreneurship. But don't worry about it. Just keep your mind, your goal on the destination, and know that you're always going to be optimizing.
I love that. I'm constantly tweaking. As I said, my LinkedIn profile, I don't even know how many times I changed that because it's my main lead gen platform. So when you're talking about optimization, so I kind of mentioned LinkedIn. So are there any other places that you think we should actually constantly like kind of we are maintaining our car, right? Car maintenance, we were checking, changing the oil, things like that. So like other specific places that you think we should be constantly like optimizing, improving, give us a few pointers that we can start to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get really technical, one thing, and we already talked about it when we talked about the LinkedIn headline, you're changing the order. I may have changed the order before I got in the show, depending on, what I want to echo, what I want people to see first. So don't think when you create your website, when you do the SEO, when you do the copy, that's it. You might have to rearrange your homepage depending on events, switch different things around. So make sure that you're clear about how you want your marketing to go, especially even with social media. So for me, for people who know back in the day, Troy was all day tweeting. That was his thing. I was just tweeting all day. And after a while, I did different ventures. I did work with other companies, and it took me away from Twitter. I focused on LinkedIn and YouTube and other avenues per the company. And when I made the transition, especially in 2020, let me go back to my first love. Twitter seems like where I need to be. I need to reset. So I invested more of my time and content strategy on Twitter. I know other people who switch gears, or they know that the goal want to be on YouTube more to get their subscribers up, to build their SEO. You're always going to be making some changes. So, don't think that, even I tell people and we talked about this, you need strategy, but realize that strategy as a blueprint is a living, breathing document that you're gonna always have to shift and modify. It's like the air. When you put the air and things come in, you're just swaying. You're just kind of going with the flow. And it's the same thing with water. You put water in any container, it adapts to the shape of what's going on. So those are just examples, especially when you're thinking of marketing, your copy, your visuals, your language, how you show up, what mediums you choose. All those different things may change. And sometimes it's not that you're not getting success. It could be draining you. Again, we go back to clarity. Clarity being, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm creating all this video content. It's great, but I'm seeing less time with my family and I'm missing time with them. What are my anchors? I need to make money, but I want to make more money to have more time with my family. So I need to learn how to balance that. So it's not always about the money or optimizing for the campaign. It's also to make sure your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your emotional well-being is in alignment with what you're doing as well.
Well, it's such a great point. I think most people are not even thinking about that. But like you probably have heard quite a few stories. I personally have met friends and heard of stories of creators just like completely burn out, right? Or like they have broken families, got divorced, things like that, or just burn out. And that's why I'm actually reflecting on my own journey. I'm actually spending less time on social media, especially during the weekend. I don't really check it that much.
Yeah.
And but like to really, one thing is to spend more time with my family, but also just give myself like some sort of like mental block so that, exactly. I mean, you heard of the term shower effect, right? So when I notice that when I'm not working all the time, I actually have more creative ideas when I'm taking a shower, when I'm taking a walk, when I'm just like doing nothing. So I think that is such a great way to think about optimization outside our business. Yeah, that's such a great point. Such a great point. Yeah. And also interesting, I want to comment also, you mentioned that you used to be, I don't know how active you are on Twitter. That's kind of my journey. When I started on social media, I was like tweeting all the time, like on Twitter. And now I'm not like that anymore. I also kind of shifted away from Twitter.
Well, you've elevated. You're on the next level now.
Okay.
So people are tweeting on your behalf.
But definitely has have improved definitely a lot more strategic than before. And nowadays I'm focusing a lot on LinkedIn. But I love how we don't have to feel like we're married to a specific platform, right? But like listening, auditing, making changes, right? Do what is working right now instead of in that fixed mindset. Yeah. I love it. So let's keep going. So we discussed clarity, leverage, and optimization. So what's the next one? I love the next one.
So the V is two-part. It's vision and value. And I know you're probably wondering, like, Troy, you said down below how to quadruple your marketing ROI. This is all helping you do that. It's really fine-tuning everything that when you get to the final letter, you're going to actually be able to get 4 times, if not more, marketing ROI. So really, again, what's vision and value? Are you giving value? And are you receiving value back? That's very important, because many of us times we're putting all this effort to create all these videos, and we're staying up late to schedule content and do all these different things. And we're givers, and I'm an empath. I'm an ENFP 2 and 3, so I'm a giver. I'm always want to give, make sure everyone else is happy in the room before I even get a bite to eat. I just want to give and give and give. The problem when you're doing that in business is that you only have so much time, you only have so much capital, you only have so much of yourself to give. So you have to be very intentional about the value that you give. And you need to make sure, not that you're expecting always in return, I'm giving it and I expect it right back, but you should be receiving a good amount of value back from your community, because that tells you you're developing a relationship and they understand you. They're going to echo you and help you. The other part of that is to have that vision. There's a vision of how you want to show up. And I tell those people all the time, no matter how big or small you are, your way, your experience, your life, no one has the exact replica of DNA that you have. So that means you have a very important story to tell. But not only that, the value that you give, but not only that, you have a very unique vision. And sometimes not a lot of people will be able to see that vision right now, if not ever. Even the closest people to you. And I know we both can empathize with that. When you have families, sometimes and let's be real, it is a struggle. It does require sacrifice. It does require discipline. But when you have the clarity, and then when you have that vision of like, I know if I get there, it's going to be better. It's going to be different. And so what I like to do when I know I need to get some stuff cranked out, I'll say, okay, Troy, you got to do this. But hey, if you get this, that means the reward is this is paid off, or this is done, or you're not living in a level of scarcity. You're living out of abundance where you can give more. So I love to try to tie in any goal that I do with something of impact, with something of value. And that's very important, the vision and value part, because that's really the heart. That's really the engine that's going to keep you going when stuff gets hard, as obstacles. And I'm only going to say this word once on this show, but 2020 we had to pivot, right? All this pivoting, to even have the will to keep going, whether that's in college or in school, in work, a 9-to-5, and side hustle, or whatever you're doing, you need to have that vision in place, and you need to give value because it gives you self-worth, and you need to receive value because we all are human and we want to be loved and appreciated and heard and seen.
Wow, so many great points. I love how you mentioned value is both directions, and you are a giver and I'm a giver. I think in the beginning, I was really having a hard time selling, like asking for money from people. And I really want to share this with everyone joining us live or watching the replay. If you can not overcome that internal mental block, you will never be able to make money to support your family. See that as an energy exchange. It is so important. So important. Yeah. So talking about value, what do you think about, and giving away our best content for free?
Oh, if you would have asked me this 5 years ago, I'm like, yeah, go do it all, because it's all about value. And let me caution with sometimes, especially in the market, but just business in general, there's a lot of zeal. Be careful with how you use your zeal, because if you use it too sparing, if you use it too much in certain ways, you'll fall in the cracks where you're overexhausted and you're not getting enough to keep you floating. So one thing with that, but for me, when I'm looking at my value and we're talking about how much I want to give it for free, you have to do it. It's really a number game. Now, for me, it took me a while to have, like you said, the mindset that I should charge for this, because I feel like I haven't done enough reps. I don't have enough followers. This is my first time trying this out. People don't know that. And so what if it is? Can you do it? Can you bring value? Will it be amazing? Will it get them the results that they want? If you can say yes to those things, charge what you want. You may need to modify in the beginning just to get some things under you, depending on how your situation for money or what you're doing. But I think of it this way. You are a premium brand. If you say it enough times, if you think about it, if you write it down and everything, you will become that. You are what you become. That's why the vision and the value is so important. So for me, I did all that to just say this. Yes, I think there should be some things that you should get for free, but not your best gems. Your best gem. And what I will also say is, once you put a price tag on it and it's public, it's out there. People aren't going to be like, oh, okay, bro, I was trying to, and I'll say this too. People want to give a lot of discounts. Discounts are great in certain instances. But when you're always discounting what you're trying to do, you'll never make money. because people are like, well, why would I pay for that? So definitely you can always start higher and work your way down to fit what you're trying to do. And strategically, if I'm an empath, that makes me feel better because like it feels like I'm giving them a break, working it out, and I'm still in the level that I actually need to make a profit after tax, everything I need to do what I need to do. So I say, do not give your best gems away for free. Give teasers, create trailers. And I say that visually, create just nuggets of like, hey, here's a taste of what you can get if you work with me. Here's a taste of the results that I can give you, but don't give away the whole bag. Don't give away all the goodies. Be very intentional about what you give. And sometimes, don't even modify it to just a box cutter situation. Every scenario may be a little bit different. And I may think, I could lower my price here just a little bit because the exposure that I get from working with that client could actually multiply the revenue that I'm getting down the road. So it's also about, again, clarity and using leverage, using optimization, having that vision and value is to really understand that. So, okay, I can give this away for free. I can't. No, I can't afford. I literally cannot afford the time and effort and resources to give that away for free. No matter what pressure, guess what? There is, billions of people on this planet. If one person doesn't want your product and think your price is too low or too high, okay, I'll find someone else who can. You have to have that mentality so you can make sure you're getting growth.
Amen. I feel like I ever need to just rewatch this clip a few times. Seriously, it's such a great point. I wish I knew this when I started my own business. I was constantly either giving away my best stuff for free or constantly undercharging myself. And I'm still feeling bad, like I'm getting this person's money, but people don't understand. When people pay me for 1 hour, they're not paying me for 1 hour, but like 20, 10 plus years of experience to get to that 1 hour, right?
I always like to say, you're not paying me for the hour. You're paying me for the result. When we focus on results, it doesn't matter how long. I don't care if it took me 10 weeks. It took me, Troy, how should I do this? I said it in 10 seconds. Do that, it'll get you to the result that you want. So I'd say people, if you're leveraging, you're looking at time, maybe make a slight shift and focus more on these are the results that I get. Why? One, it gives you, again, more leverage, and it gives people more clarity around, I really want that result. So I got to either, and let's put it, for example, say I want a Tesla, right? Maybe I can't afford it right now, but I'm like, okay, I want that Tesla. They're not going to lower their price for me. I need to go out, get some more money, ask people for some help. Hey, can I get a loan? Or hey, can I do this? I'm going to come back to them saying, here's my money. I have enough money to afford because I want that result. So think of yourself as the same way. Think of yourself like a Tesla. Think of yourself like a premium brand. When you come to, and it's going to help mitigate a lot of the oohs and ahs and I don't knows around. And then, again, allows you to be very firm, very clear about what you do. And when you have the vision and value of what you deserve and what you want, you'll be able to get it.
Amen. And I also, on top of that, I think the battle, the competition to lower our price, you're going downward, it's like brutal, right? You're literally killing yourself. By the end of this journey, you will end up with no money. And it's like, then what's the point of becoming an entrepreneur? Oh my God, so many great points. I also love how you mentioned like value, vision also. Like for me, like I'm a mom, I have a husband, we also have 2 children and we'll have another one coming. And so, and we homeschool our children. So in my mind, I don't want to work with hundreds, thousands of clients. That's not my business model. But so I think seeing that vision also affects how we kind of even structure our business, how we position. I position my product and service as more a high end. It's not like a $300 class, but I just want to work with a few kids and very high touch, very deep level, but that's enough for me. I suppose for some other people, they may have a totally different business model. But again, like, you were talking about anchors, talking about vision. I think those are all part of this picture in terms of how we are structuring our business, even the pricing, the positioning. So I love it, everything. Yeah, I want to share this comment from Kendra. Thank you for
Kendra. Hey, Kendra.
So great to see you, and just the importance of self-care. That once you have a taste of that burnout, it's awful. It's going to take you a long time to kind of bounce back. Yeah. So I love the term, joy of missing out. Not always FOMO, but actually JOMO, joy of missing out. Give yourself that recharge. It's so important. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm constantly interrupting you. We have been talking about clarity, leverage, optimization, value. So the next one.
Execution. So we've done all this talking. We got clarity. We're going to leverage our community. I got my vision, Troy. I'm going to get value. I'm going to think like a premium brand. I made all this stuff up. I wrote all this stuff. It doesn't matter if you don't execute. I've seen many people, and I made a post about this today on LinkedIn and Twitter. Stop chasing perfection and just chase progress. There are many people who are literally, the reason why they're not getting anywhere is because they're not doing one foot and one the other. When we look, and I know you know this better than anybody, and I hope to have kids one day, is that you look at a baby, they don't just get up and walk. Maybe they do, but from what I know, it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to get to that point. So you have to start making progress. You got to make baby steps if you want to make the bigger steps happen.
Yeah, I love this. I need to write this down. It's so powerful. Chase progress, not perfection. And even in fact, and I'm actually happy that when I started my business, I didn't know all the pieces that I need to do to run a business. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't resign from my job, knowing how, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do that. Oh my God, no, I can't. I just I knew a little bit, maybe 30% only. And then I just launched, even for my live streaming show. I like sometimes I want to make myself feel better by looking at my very first live video. I was like, what was I doing? It was awful, right? But if I didn't start that very first one, I wouldn't get to where I'm today. I really feel like many people struggle with that. So for those people who are just overthinking everything, which I know quite a few, and they want to make sure everything's perfect. Yeah. So what advice can you give them? Or some baby steps or some exercise they can do to get started? Because that is a huge mental block to those people. Yeah.
Yeah, Clover isn't just a way to quadruple your marketing ROI, but it's also a framework to keep you sane, to make sure your mental, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual health are in alignment with what you do and with who you are and who you serve. So when we come to the point, and I'm an overachiever. For those who know me, I talk fast, not because I'm nervous, because my brain is always thinking, and I'm always trying to, what's the next? Ooh, let me try to get that. Let me try to get that. But when I think of clarity, when you're clear about these things, that's one of your anchors. So for those who are focusing on perfection and they're trying to figure out what we're going to do, what I'm going to do. Okay, go back to your clarity. What's most important? Go back to your vision. What do you need to achieve? And leverage other people when you're weak at certain things. You're not going to be able to do it all by yourself. You need to acknowledge where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And you need to build a system and a structure. Again, people wonder where that engineering went to is going into this moment. That vision, when I have that vision, I can reverse engineer it to set things of what I need to do. Like you said, I need to know, if I would have known all this stuff was going to happen on my way, I might not have done it. But sometimes people need that. Some people need to be real talk. This is what's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging. It's not going to work right away. When you're mentally able to prepare yourself for that, you're going to have a leaps of faith and be able to be more productive. So when you're struggling with not knowing how to go, I need to make it perfect, ask yourself, how much time can you allot yourself to be in this state? If you're working a 9 to 5 and the bills are being paid and everything's good, you probably have more time to try to make it perfect or to modify it. But at some point, you actually have to let it go and see if it works. Because I've seen a lot of folk who paid thousands upon thousands of dollars for a website, for videos, and they're like, Troy, I don't talk the best. I don't do this the best, but you're you. And people will find value and they will see the vision because you're clear about your message, you're leveraging your community, you're constantly optimizing, and through all of that, you'll get success. So you really have to when it comes down to it, you don't know, I don't know, you have to really look at how much time do I got? I don't got that much time left. I got to make something happen. And that will surpass whatever insecurity, that will surpass whatever thing that is kind of a mental block or an emotional block, beyond to just get started. Because no matter what, if you look at any business, we think of the Amazons and the Apples and the Microsofts, you name the top person in your industry, they all started where you are right now. And the reason they got to where they are, they took one step in front of the other and made progress.
I mean, so many great points. And first, I want to comment that you are such a fast speaker because as I was preparing for the interview, I listened to, you know how on LinkedIn you can leave a quick voice, no, people know how to pronounce your name. So I listened to yours. I was like, oh my God, do you get like 30 seconds? You were like, an entire paragraph, like for me, because they only give you like 10 seconds or something to say your name. I barely mentioned my name. I was like, thumbs up. I was like, listen to Troy's. You were like, this is my name. This is what I do. I even mentioned your website. I was like, oh my
It's
God.
a hack. That's a hack because now that they have that feature, I tell people, don't just start your name. Say specifically something that's memorable because if they click on it, that means they had an interest with who you are. So I added that plug to just try to say, hey, this is my name, but also this is what I do. Reach out.
Yeah, I try to, but I need to speak faster. I really try to. I think I only mentioned what I do, but I didn't have the time to mention my website. So you know what? After this interview today, I'm going to practice this to speak faster to see if I can add some room.
One thing you could do is you could record it and just have it on your phone and play the soundbite.
Yeah.
So you make it edit to the 9 seconds and just play it back.
Yeah, definitely. I also love how you mentioned, like take that baby step. A quick story I can share with everyone. So a few years ago, that was kind of my very first entrepreneurial online course I launched. I kept it as a secret. I was working on this and I want to make sure everything is perfect. I got the camera, everything, and I created the content. And then I launched the course. Guess what? 0% purchased my course. It was such a great learning experience. But now I sell before I create. I want to make sure that people are actually resonating with this idea. And now when I'm actually creating, like I'm creating a course now, but I already have students inside. I'm actually, wow, it feels good. I'm actually being paid to create this course content. So those are some really great points. And so I want to share this. Natalie said that, yeah, you are really paying for the results. So I so agree, not paying by the hours. I think, and Kendra, done is always better than trying to be perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Do we even cover the last one?
We can. We've got to the point. The R is results. It doesn't matter if you don't get results. And when I mean by results, I mean ROI, return on interest, return on investment, however you want to spend that, revenue, because we need to make money. But then also the other R I want to emphasize is retention. Many people, Troy, I got this in the pipeline. But you have to ensure that you have other things going at all times. So you want to retain your audience. You want to retain those people who are buying from you so you can get more referrals and get a bigger community and have a larger cash flow. So you want to make sure that you're retaining people as well. Not just revenue is good, but retained revenue is better. Because if I know my forecast is if I have X amount of dollars already guaranteed for the year, then now I can leverage other things to grow in different areas. Or maybe you're now like at a point where I want to explore different things. I couldn't start here, but now I have more time because the money frees a lot of time. When you have more money at your exposure, you can pay other people to do the grunt work that you built on with assistance and strategy. You teach them how to do it, and that's how you grow. And that's how people become the next Amazon, the next Apple of the world. If your idol, whatever it is, you have to build it, replicate it, build it, replicate it. But it's all about getting results, and results is the indicator. The final indicator. If you're doing all this stuff and it's just not clicking, that doesn't mean you're defeated. That just means you got to make a shift. That just means my destination is still in view, but that might mean the highway I thought I was going to take is not going to get me there. There's too much traffic. I got to go a different way to get there, and that's perfectly okay.
I love that. It also goes back to what you said earlier, Troy. People are actually purchasing your outcomes. They're purchasing the results. So you want to make sure. I feel like even if you are now getting this, I mean, I don't think this model is like linear, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's a cycle. You can constantly go back to restart, revisit from this element to another element, fix, modify, optimize, all those things. Yeah. This is great. We only have 8 minutes left. And I want to briefly mention that you also have another method that we didn't have time to talk, but I really love all the insights and you share regarding this C.L.O.V.E.R, this model. So why don't you repeat C.L.O.V.E.R so everyone gets it again?
All right. So my C.L.O.V.E.R business framework goes like this. The C is for clarity. The L is for leverage. The O is for optimization. The V is for vision and value. The E is for execution. The R is for results, being ROI, revenue, and retention.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. So the next one I want to briefly mention is a D.A.R.T, D.A.R.T. So maybe you can just kind of briefly mention to us what this means and how can we apply it?
Sure. So really, if you think of C.L.O.V.E.R as this top level and D.A.R.T's kind of lower at the bottom, and D.A.R.T is really means direct, authentic, resourceful, and techniques and tactics. So you want to be very direct, very specific about, hey, I'm trying to exchange what I do, my talent, my service for this amount to give you this result. The more direct you are, the more empowered you are. And if I can take 5 seconds to say, or probably a little longer than that, is that for those, especially BIPOC and underrepresented communities, we sometimes struggle with being direct. But when you be very direct, people actually feel you're being courageous. They trust you more. You know, you're right to the point. So practice whatever you're trying to say and fit it in a tweet. Then cut it in half and see where you get with. Practice that. And then authentic. We want you to be real. We want you to be yourself. I'll be honest, I don't have a master of the English language. I'm not the best speaker, but I'm Troy. I'm me. You're you. Be authentic. Why? Because you can consistently show up as your authentic self. You may forget, oh, I was this, I was that. But when you're showing up as yourself, people will always resonate it and it'll be trustworthy and be true. And then the R, being resourceful. That, again, we're thinking of C.L.O.V.E.R and everything, your leverage, but resourceful is just, what can I do right now with what I have at my disposal? I may not have all the money right now. I may be bootstrapping, but what can I do for free? When I get a little bit more money, now what can I take off my plate so I can keep growing? Being very resourceful. Then techniques and tactics. You need to have systems and structures. You need to know what's working, what's the trend. And not every trend will work for you, but you need to see what ones do work. For me, when I write, I'm not a long-winded writer. I wish I was, but I'm not. What I've done, I'm really good at tweeting. So you got 280 characters. I'll tweet a whole Twitter thread, and it's very micro, it's very concise. I'll take that whole thread and convert that as a blog post. That's my hack for me to make long-form content. I'm not a writer, but through that framework, those techniques and those tactics, now I can still come across and still get the same result as a good bona fide article. And there's millions and millions of ways to do that, but find those ways that's going to empower you to really do what you need to do better.
Wow, it's so powerful. I can resonate. I just like the last point, you know, like I love how you are using tweets to turn that into long form content. For me, I love talking, just like you. I love talking and I love being on camera. I love live streaming, but I'm not, in comparison, I don't love writing as much as I do camera. So what I do is like after this show is over, I got the audio, I send the audio to Anchor and then the audio podcast. And then I repurpose this into a blog article. And then I upload the video to Alter. I got the transcript, I made some edits. Then I get an article. So yeah, I love all those hacks. Really handy, right? When you are just feel like you don't have that much time to do everything. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I also like how you mentioned authentic. I think like for me, one thing I learned from my business is really being like vulnerable and being vulnerable and just like sharing some deep things that I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing before, but now that has really helped build trust. But I want to ask you, do you think being overly vulnerable will actually affect our, maybe not so much authenticity, but more so like credibility? Is there a fine line between being vulnerable versus being credible, like credibility?
I think so. I think how you articulate your vulnerability is key. So I like to say, I want to be intentionally vulnerable. I don't want to have my vulnerability be perceived as weakness. I don't want my vulnerability to be perceived as, oh, he can't cut it. He can't do it. He's struggling. I want to have people have empathy. I want to show people that, hey, I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm struggling, but I'm still going to make it. So it's how you frame and articulate your vulnerability. Because no one wants, I want to compare sad stories. No, I don't want that. I want to show you through what I've experienced that, hey, there's hope for you to get where I am or even beyond. You just got to be encouraged. So really, I think there is a fine line that you won't know until you really see how your community engages with it. Obviously, there's some things that you probably don't want to do or touch depending on your audience or just social media in general. You don't want all your dirty laundry. You don't want everything about you out there. But I also would say, and I'll be really quick in 20 seconds, for me personally, over the years, I've shared more about my story that I've never shared before. 2020 was one of those years halfway through with Black Lives Matter movement and people recognizing the disparity of BIPOC in the workplace and other areas, LGBTQIA, IA, and women and everything in between. Oh my goodness. And now the door is a little bit open more. If I choose in this moment to be vulnerable, it will impact not just me, but those behind me. That vision and having that clarity to make that impact. So sometimes it's also just waiting for the right opportunity to share that. And other times it's not about public, it's about certain communities. There's certain things I share in certain communities. Like me and we may, after this StreamYard conversation, share a vulnerability that we won't share in this moment because the timing is right as well.
Yeah, oh, I love that. What you just said, I love how you mentioned being so intentional, which reminds me of a story shared by Seth Godin. He said that imagine you're a surgeon, you are like being overly vulnerable, right? I don't know how to operate on this person. I have no idea. Like imagine like nobody will send their patient to you if you are like talking like that. So I love what you said about being this intentional and being vulnerable at the same time. Yeah, so great. Wow, I have so many more questions for you, but we're unfortunately running out of time. But like, what a great conversation, Troy. Thank you so much. I have been sharing your social media, so do let us know again where is a good place for people to learn more about you, connect with you, and just like continue to cultivate a meaningful relationship with you.
So you can find me anywhere at Find Troy. If you want to put that in Google, it'll pop up there. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Vote Lab. We help people with agency stuff. I also own a company called Strategy Hackers that I help you with one-on-one and groups to give you these strategies to help you be successful. So I'm here. Find me. Let's talk and follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, I have like Twitter. I know Twitter is your favorite platform, so I'll make sure to include Twitter. Yeah, but you use the same name every single place, so it's really easy to find you. And so thank you so much for such a great conversation. And our people are just loving the insights that you shared, and me too. I can't wait to watch the replay myself. So thank you for your time, my friend, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live from all over the globe. I really appreciate you guys, and so hope to see you again. Oh, I meet someone from joining us from YouTube. Yeah. So I will see you the same time next week, same location. And we have another powerful person coming on the show and to share with you some powerful stuff to improve your business in the new year. So thank you. And thank you again, Troy. Bye, everyone.